Welcome to our third game on July 27, 2013, Saturday, here in our Saturday Hoops Pickup Series. And we're going to take a little bit different approach this game. We have the Sabinettes against the Hucksters. And this game we're going to talk a little more analysis, Jimbo and I, and we're going to maybe follow the play-by-play action a little less closely as we analyze the strategy and the weaknesses and strengths of players that are playing in this game. And so the Sabinettes remain Sabin, DK, Kalof, Duran, and Art. And the Hucksters for this game, as they shoot up, will be Marcus, Sean, Devontae, Chuck, and Pat. So one of the hallmarks of today's game is the lack of bigs. And usually there are bigs, especially on Wednesday, but on Saturday as well. And that's why a player like Seal can be so effective at 6'9". He can really dominate the boards and protect the rim, but that kind of player is not here today, so it's a little bit of a different game that we have going here. So that makes things a little different. So the Sabinettes have been effective both on offense and defense this game, taking some shots there and making some buckets. And so, again, we see a shot by Duran that wasn't particularly close. Should have done a little better with that. And so Duran is one of those guys that can be a little hot, little cold. It's either a swish or it may not even be close. Duran gives up the ball there, and DK picks it up with Sabin finishing. So one of the keys here is whether Sabin can be stopped with his short jumper game as well as his three-point attack. They really got a key on Sabin if the Hucksters want to win the game here. And so it is 2-3. The Hucksters now ahead on Devontae's shot. And Devontae has been showing a little, has been showing his range today in that he can be 2-3 feet behind the three-point line and make those three-point shots. And so far, Sabin has not really been respecting that shot, and Devontae has put in more than a couple of those shots. And there, Marcus, following up his own rebound, isn't able to put the ball in. And Marcus is a player that really has an inside-outside game as well, in the sense that he will put the ball on the floor, but he really likes that three-point shot from the outside. And we have some action here as DK goes inside, and a little bit of a cluster action there as Sabin was upset at Art for not getting out of the way or moving or cutting or picking on the play, while Art felt like perhaps the ball should have been given to him at the three-point line. Anyway, some disagreement, and that's just the case where not everyone's on the same page, and that's okay. That's healthy in basketball to discuss with each other what the strategy is. And so let's turn to Jimbo now for some analysis of the Hucksters as the Sabinettes put in a bucket. And so we have Chuck there, who handed the ball off to his teammate. Chuck likes to really shoot the three-point shot in rhythm with the left hand. That's his game, and he will run out on offense, and you've got to get back to prevent the run-out layup. So that's an important part of Chuck's game. Pat is one of those guys that can be a beast inside, having trouble recently maybe finishing on the inside close to the rim, and he'll also take the three-point shot when he has some time. So if he's at the three-point line, he will take that three-pointer and shoot it at a good clip. Now Marcus from the outside, again showing a little bit of a fade on that shot. Very effective shooter when he has the space and time. So it is 5-4. The Hucksters are ahead, and Kalof putting the ball in the hole from the three-point line. And so the three-point game is Kalof's game. However, recently he's been showing more action with the pull-up jumper earlier today and driving to the bucket. So showing some more diversity in his offensive game instead of just relying on the three-point line. And Sean putting the ball in the hole, Sean being a new addition. And what he lacks perhaps in height, he makes up for with his speed and hustle. And so maybe not as polished as some in terms of his offensive game, but he will stick it in the hole if he gives a little bit of space on those three-point attempts. And again, as I mentioned before, Devontae showing long-range accuracy this game from the three-point line, and maybe the defense not getting out enough on that. And Devontae putting up another air ball. And so again, really that hot and cold, it's a swish or it's an air ball brick. Now Pat driving on the inside, showing his strength, but unable to finish there, and DK bringing the ball up the court. Now Sabin, so Sabin there, probably the best shooter on the team there, is guarded, and you really have to guard him on that. Now Duran for another three-point attempt, off the iron, and goes to Marcus. So Marcus, with perhaps a little bit of a speed advantage against K. Luff, gives the ball up. And the ball goes inside to Sean. Duran late on the defense. Sean is not able to put in a shot he should have made, and Sabin now on transition. And Sabin, missing the layup there, should have done a little better. Went to the right hand and shot it long. And Pat driving on the inside, double teamed, gives the ball off to Devontae, who is fouled by Duran, and puts up, misses the shot on the foul. So the score that I have right now are the Hucksters 10, the Sabinettes 7. And the ball will be checked in by Duran. So Duran needs to do a little bit better defense and get back and guard Sean. Now Marcus with the ball at the top of the key gives it off to Pat. Now we have some confusion on the defense on the part of Sabinettes as two players run out to guard Pat. Pat says, never mind, I'll go past both of you and put the ball in the hole. So that's really inexcusable when two guys go out to guard the same guy and still can't stop him. At least if you're going to run two guys out there, you got to stop him and make him pass the rock and not score there. So DK with the ball to Sabin, who has an open jumper. And why he keeps getting space on that jumper, I don't know. You've really got to not give that guy space. Now Pat going inside to Sean. And what happens here? They retain the ball, but Sean puts the ball up long, barely grazes iron long, and perhaps he was fouled on that. That may be the reason that it was long. So Sean, if he can get a little more consistent on the inside, if he's able to consistently put in those 3, 4, 5, 6 foot footers, he will be much improved in terms of his offensive skills. So Sabin bringing the ball up the court. What will they do here? Gives the ball off to Duran, gives the ball to DK, who when he gets his feet under him, loves that 15, 17 footer, even 19 footer three-pointer. He's got, just really consistent form, and you really can't get him space. He really doesn't like to drive that much, so there's no reason that you shouldn't be in his face and running out to stop that shot. Make him put it on the floor, make him go to the rim. That's not what he's most comfortable doing. So Pat gets the ball, and he dribbles the ball. Pat, again, liking the inside, likes to drive, likes the putbacks. He's one of your guys that is able to clean up on the boards when the other teammates miss, and drives but misses on the foul. So Sean with the ball gives it up to Duran. Sean gives it up to Chuck, left-handed bomber, who gives it to Pat, and it goes around the key here. Marcus with the fake shot, nice little hesitation, and puts the ball right through the hole. So that's really the strength of Marcus's game. He's got that three-point attack, and then he can put the ball on the floor, create a little space, and shoot that jumper. Again, he will drive at times and go off the backboard, shoot some runners, but mainly he's going to look for that three-pointer and those short jumpers. And the ball about to be checked in. The score that I have here is the Hucksters 12 and the Sabinettes 7. So Art with the ball passes it out. And Art is more, how would we describe his game? More of like a hustle running game, wants to get the cuts, will take the occasional three-pointer, and looks for some layups. Not really a big scorer on his part, but doesn't often make too many mistakes, and moves the ball around a little bit. So kind of a piece that's useful as a utility player, but he's not going to be your lead scorer by any stretch of the imagination, nor your primary ball handler, nor your rebounder, which kind of leaves not much else. So Art misses the three-pointer. Again, if he has the wide open three-pointer, he'll take it, and he cuts off the man there as Sean dribbles over, gives the ball off to Devontae, who fakes a shot. Now Sabin respecting that shot out there at distance, and Chuck, he will take the shot in traffic if he has any space. Doesn't need to be wide open to go for that three. And Duran driving in, and that's one of the strengths of Duran's game, is that he is always going to run out on transition and will go directly to the rim if he has the opportunity. So good run out by Duran as he scores the layup. Devontae drives in. Marcus circulates the ball, and one thing Marcus is good at is moving the ball around and getting the ball to the open guy. Looks like we have a turnover here, and Duran will bring the ball up the court now, giving it over to Sabin. So, Jimbo, what do you like about this game so far? Well, it's just some back and forth here. Oh, what do we have here? Art has fallen hard, fell down on his hip. Looks like he was tripped over Chuck's foot. As Chuck backed up, he was setting a pick, or I'm not sure what Chuck was doing, but Chuck moved backwards just as Art made his cut, and Art fell over and tripped and fell hard. So let's see if he's okay. Looks like he's okay. He's standing here, hands on his knees, and catching his breath here. Maybe got the wind knocked out of him. So the ball's back in play. Duran with the ball. Thanks, Jimbo. And now Sabin putting in another jumper. And it's 11-12. Sabinet's behind at this point as the Hucksters have a 1-point lead. And Chuck bringing the ball up here, hesitating as Sabin shows high on the help defense. And now Sean giving the ball inside to Pat. So a good matchup of strength here with Pat and DK. Pat having the size and height advantage there, but isn't able to put the ball in at range. So that's something Pat needs to do a little more consistently. I know he's really wanting to do that. And so no defense on the pick there in terms of getting a hand in Sabin's face, and he puts in the open three-pointer. So this is some. Whoa, what do we have here? Art walking off the court. Art walking off the court, asking for a substitution, removing the patellar knee band and removing his shoe. Perhaps the fall was a little more painful than initially realized, and there might be an injury here. Art coming off the court, removing his shoe. He may be done for this game. So the ball going over to Devontae, and Marcus being guarded by Kalof, holding and looking at this point, while Chuck, being guarded by DK, goes inside to Sean. Now Sean looking at Pat, who cuts through. Sean taking a really difficult shot in that he was turning and fading to his right, and off-balance jumper able to go off the rim and inside for a made shot. So difficult attempt by Sean there, but he puts it in. And so probably not a big fan of those kinds of shots unless you've shown over and over you can put those in. When you're jumping and moving to the right, it's a very difficult shot, especially when it's contested. Now Devontae getting a little space, driving in, but doesn't finish there. Do we have a foul call? No, we don't. So DK bringing the ball back up the court, gives it off to J.O. J.O., of course, came in as a substitute, replacing Art, who was injured on that fall when he was tripped. So Devontae coming over, Duran, giving the ball up to Sabin, who gives it back to Duran, and now going to DK. So what do we know about J.O.'s game? J.O., again, one of the guys that likes to play at the three-point line, will drive in, not really a mid-range guy, but kind of an inside-outside in terms of three-point and going to the rim. Much more probably consistent and effective at the three-point line than driving in, but he will surprise you and make some buckets on the inside driving when somebody goes too hard on the three-point attempt. Now Sabin giving the ball up to DK. DK with his patented form there shooting the three-pointer, but it is no good off the front iron. Duran again showing his shot, but it's off again. And Duran looking for the open pass, still not guarded. Sean playing defense, gives the ball to J.O. And what did I just say? J.O. likes the three-pointers. He's been attempting a lot of threes today from the top of the key. Frankly, he's thrown up some bricks earlier today, but he puts in the swish there. So J.O. wanting to turn around his fortunes with his three-point shooting on this morning, shooting a nice shot there to give the Sabinettes 3 more points. And Pat, again, will take that three-point shot when he's open. He misses it, and now the ball goes over to the Sabinettes, who are looking to win their 3rd game in a row as Duran brings the ball up the floor. So, Sabin looking, guarded by Pat, gives the ball up to DK. Duran, Duran driving to the bucket. So that's an example of someone showing a little too hard there on the three-pointer. He's able to create a little bit of space. There being no bigs on the inside, he's able to go straight to the rim and put the ball through the hole through the game-winning shot. So, not sure what the exact final score was, but I believe it's 21-14 or somewhere thereabouts. And the Sabinettes have won their 3rd game in a row. So, here we see a little bit different action on this Saturday compared to some of our other Saturdays where we have a different mix of players. You get guys like York, Jay York, and David Seal in there, and you have a much different game with those big, strong bodies that can rebound and really pound in the paint, especially Jay York, who can be really, frankly, a beast, at least in in this level of basketball with these kinds of guys that he can dominate on the inside. So from Saturday to Saturday, Wednesday to Wednesday, different people show, and it can be much different action. And frankly, there are guys that play on Saturday but never play on Wednesday, and vice versa, play on Wednesday but never play on Saturday. And of course, there are the guys that play on both. So different action on different days, and some days better, some days worse, some shooting good, some shooting bad, some IQ good, some IQ bad. But overall, these guys just try to have a nice competitive game and try to play some good basketball, not just showboating, get your shot off basketball, but good team basketball. Thank you.